The Jesus Trilogy, The Four Messiahs, Book 1, Chapter 8, Part A. Mary walked into the shekel at precisely noon. Joseph was already seated with another man at a table in the middle of the room. The checked tablecloths brightened an otherwise rather benign atmosphere. There was the bar, though, inlaid with several silver shekels in its countertop. When Joseph saw Mary, he stood immediately. "Mary, this is Judd, my foreman, and at the next table is Ferd, another guy I work with. Guys, this is my babysitter." "Our pleasure, miss," Judd said. "We have a little business to discuss. I'll see you back at the factory." "Some babysitter," Judd said to Ferd as the two walked to the door. "I'd sure like to take her out and show her some of the sights some evening." The two laughed as they broke the plane of the door and stepped into the already hot sun. Joseph's face still wore a smile, the same smile Mary had seen that morning. She opened her mouth to speak, but Joseph spoke first. "Gabriel came to visit me last night." "The blue-eyed one?" Mary asked. "Yes, the very same," he said. "You're going to have the Messiah. Your baby is going to be the Messiah. He also said I'm to be the father here on earth. Can you believe it, Mary?" Joseph's excitement was hard to contain. "Hi there." It was Gloria, along with Ramona, the town know-it-all, interrupting their conversation. "Hi, ladies," Joseph said. "Mary and I were just having a little lunch, discussing some business, the children." "Hope it's nothing serious," Ramona said with a sneer. We must get to our table. The boys will be coming soon," Gloria said. "Ta-ta." "Have a nice day, ladies," Joseph said as he stood. When Gloria and Ramona had gotten seated at the table on the other side of the room, they looked at each other and smiled. Joseph sat back down and said, "This isn't going to work, is it?" "I fear not," Mary said. "There are halfway houses for unwed mothers down in Samaria where no one would know you." "Joseph!" Mary had exclaimed a little too loudly. Gloria and Ramona turned to look, then resumed their conversation. "Just an idea," he said apologetically. "The Son of God deserves only the best life has to offer." No more glances were forthcoming from across the room. "And he shall have it, only the best, that is." No more incorrect words were ever spoken. "Maybe I better get out of town for a while," Mary suggested. "I haven't seen my cousin Elizabeth for years." "That might be a good idea, Mary," Joseph agreed. "She probably could use some company." "Zachariah is having a stroke and all," Mary said. "Yeah, how is old Zach anyway?" "I haven't heard. Maybe she could use some help." "Maybe so," Joseph said. "But what about the kids?" she wondered aloud. "I could take Rachel with me," Mary interrupted. "Yeah, the boys and I could get along." "When will you deliver?" he asked again too loudly. She put her finger to her mouth so he would keep his voice down. They both instinctively looked over to Gloria's table, but Mary and Joseph's relief, both were deep in conversation with two men. "By my calendar, December 25, she said. "We could go down to Samaria and get married in secret. Then when things calm down, you could come back and we could have little Jesus," Joseph said, that grin coming back to his face. "What did you say?" Mary asked. "What?" "You said a name," Mary said. "I thought you knew. Gabe told me his name was Jesus." "What a lovely name," Mary said, a grin similar to Joseph's surfacing on her beautiful face. "What does that name mean, Mary?" "He shall arise from the house of David, and he shall save his people from their sins," she was reciting absent-mindedly. "What does his name mean, Mary?" Joseph repeated. "Oh, sorry, Messiah." They both stared into one another's eyes. Somehow the spell broke, and Joseph paid the bill. They went out, walking as close to each other as possible without touching. "I'll be home as soon as I can," Joseph said. "Joseph, there's just one more thing," Mary said, the smile still on her face. "What's that?" "You cannot love me yet." Even in the bright sunlight, Joseph's face turned a deep shade of red, but the look in Mary's eyes told him there would be plenty of time for that. Love makes communication so simple, so perfect, he thought. As he turned to leave, Mary admonished him, "Work hard. The baby will need shoes." She quickly cupped her hand over her mouth, hoping no one had heard her. No one had. "Rachel, how's my sweet Rachel?" Mary said as Rachel ran to meet her and hugged her. "Rachel, look what I got." Mary held up a bar. "Canny, a nickel," she said excitedly. "A Snickers, honey," Mary corrected and began to laugh. Some words were hard for Rachel to form, but there was not much she did not understand. She scarfed down the Snickers bar. "Thanks, Nancy," Mary said. Nancy was such a wonderful babysitter. "Think nothing of it. Rachel brings joy everywhere she goes. She is so sweet. She's so full of life. It's a gift, I think," Mary said. "So it is, Mary." Mary paid the 20 pence an hour's time, and she and Rachel set out for home. As they walked, Mary said, "Rachel, how would you like to take a little trip with me?" "To the park?" "No, to another town. I'm going to visit my cousin, and I was wondering if you would like to go along." "What's her name?" "Elizabeth." "Does she have kids like me?" Rachel asked. "No, but there are lots of kids near to where Elizabeth lives." Mary was choosing her words very carefully. "Can we go now? I want to see the kids." "Not today, but soon, very soon. Now I must cook supper." Mary breathed a big sigh of relief. Rachel was the toughest hurdle. The rest would be a piece of cake. "Me go play now?" Rachel said. "Good. You work the puzzle," Mary said. "Goody," she shouted with glee and ran off. The boys got home soon, and then Joseph arrived. The family ate in relative silence, surprising considering how happy they all were. Joseph and Mary trusted their future, but they didn't know it line for line. There was a difference. After supper, there was a knock at the door. "Hi, Nancy. Come in." Mary was not expecting any visitors, but said politely, "Are you hungry, Nancy?"